Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Senior Safety Advice Podcast. This is the show that is dedicated to helping older adults live safely, confidently, and independently at home. I'm your host, Esther Kane. I am a retired occupational therapist, certified aging in place specialist, and a dementia care specialist. And I am so glad that you're here with me today because I think this is a very important episode. But before we get started, if you haven't already, I'd love for you to visit seniorsafetyadvice.com and sign up for our weekly newsletter there. And that's where you'll find all of my episodes and tips and resources. And hey, if this podcast has been helpful to you, then please subscribe to the podcast or YouTube channel, whatever it is you're listening to. Share it with a friend or a family member, and check out our YouTube channel as well. It truly means the world to me, and to Robin as well, who is the co-host of this podcast. All right, now today we are talking about something that sounds, kind of simple. People have heard about it before, but I think that it's extremely important as you get older, and that is the topic of drinking enough water. But let me tell you, as summer is coming, water is more and more important to our bodies, but there's certain kinds of water I think that are important as well. So drinking enough water is something that sounds simple, sounds easy, but honestly, for older adults, it's anything but simple. Staying hydrated is one of the most important things that you can do to protect your health, your balance, your thinking, your energy. And yet, so many people don't even realize that they're falling behind, that they're dehydrated. So today we're going to talk about why that happens and what you can actually do about it. All right, so the whole idea is, it's not that you're being lazy, it's just biology. So let's start with that. Okay, if you've noticed that you don't feel thirsty very often, you're not imagining it, because as we get older, our body's natural thirst signal actually gets quieter. It doesn't shout at you the way it used to, so you can actually be quite dehydrated before your brain even sends a "hey, drink something" kind of message. Now, that's not a personal failing. That's just how the body changes with age. And once you understand that, it becomes so much easier to take this seriously. Now listen, I've worked with older adults for years as an occupational therapist, and I can tell you that dehydration was behind so many of the problems I saw in my work. It caused dizziness, confusion, falls, urinary tract infections, fatigue. People would come in struggling, and once we looked at their fluid intake, it was often a huge piece of the puzzle. Now, I have to tell you that if your senior loved one or if you are in a clinical setting, that dehydration, sadly enough, is frequently overlooked. It's an overlooked factor in a lot of sudden changes in seniors' mental clarity or balance. And it's often one of the very first things that really should be assessed. So don't be afraid to speak up and say, are they dehydrated? Can you check? Can you hydrate them? Sometimes it's a saline solution. Sometimes it's just drinking. Sometimes it's electrolytes, whatever it is. And if that helps to clear up their what looks like they've gotten confused, then you know that it was dehydration. Well, actually, the doctor and nurses should be able to help you. But don't be afraid to speak up and mention that. All right. So let's take a moment to talk about some of the things that people believe about hydration that aren't right. These are kind of the myths that are going around. All right, myth number one. Well, if I'm not thirsty, then I'm fine. Okay, we just talked about this, but it's so important. It's worth saying again. Thirst is not a reliable indicator of hydration for older adults. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already far behind. All right, myth number two. Coffee and tea count as fluids, so I'm covered. Well, here's the thing. Coffee and tea do, of course, contribute to your fluid intake. They're not as dehydrating as people once thought, but they also shouldn't be your only source of hydration. Water, milk, juice, broth, fruits with high water content like watermelon, all of that adds up as part of your hydration. Myth number 3. I don't drink much because, I don't want to be running to the bathroom all night. Look, I get it. Believe me. All right. I completely understand that. Okay, that's a real concern, especially for folks dealing with incontinence or balance problems or sleep disruption. But here's a simple solution to that. Front load your fluids. In other words, drink more in the morning and the early afternoon and taper off in the evening. You protect your sleep and stay hydrated. Win-win. You may have to experiment to find out what time of day you should taper off or completely stop drinking. But either way, before that time, drink what you need to get hydrated. All right. So what does dehydration do to your body? Okay, so this is what's at stake here, because I think when people understand this, it really changes how they think about something as simple as a glass of water. When you're not drinking enough, your blood gets a little thicker. So that means that your heart has to work harder. Your kidneys have to work harder, and your brain gets less of what it needs to get in order to function clearly. So have you ever had a day where you just felt, foggy or a little off? Maybe a mild headache in the afternoon. That can be dehydration. Have you felt dizzy when standing up too quickly? You might think it's your blood pressure or your blood sugar, but it could also be dehydration. Dehydration can make that much, much worse. In fact, it's one of the most common contributors to falls in older adults. Why? Because it affects your blood pressure, your balance, and your alertness all at once. And then there's the kidney thing. Urinary tract infections are incredibly common in older adults. That's why I recommend bidets for older adults, because it helps to keep you cleaner than just toilet paper. Chronic level dehydration is a big contributing factor to urinary tract infections. So keeping your kidneys flushed and your urinary tract moving helps to reduce that risk. When you go to the bathroom, your urine should be the color of a very, very light lemonade. If it's darker than that, check with your physician. It could be the medication you're on. It could be other issues, but normally, if you're hydrated enough, the color of your urine is the color of a very, very light colored lemonade. All right. For folks living with dementia or mild cognitive impairment, this is especially important because even mild dehydration can cause noticeable changes in behavior, confusion, or agitation. Now, family caregivers especially, often tell me that they noticed a big difference just by being more consistent with fluids throughout the day. It makes sense, and it's such an easy, free thing to do. All right, let's talk about building habits that actually stick. Now, here's where it gets practical. Because knowing that you should drink more water and actually doing it consistently, well, we all know that's usually two different things, right? So let's talk about some real strategies that work for real people. Tie drinking water to something you already do. This is called habit stacking, and it is one of the most effective behavior changing tools that I know and I've used. You wake up in the morning, have a glass of water before your coffee. And you might even want, as soon as you put your feet on the floor from the bed, have a glass of water. You take your medications. Instead of just sipping a little bit of water with your pills, drink a full glass of water with them. You sit down for lunch, drink a glass of water with your lunch, maybe before lunch and maybe another one after lunch. You don't have to think about it or remember it. It just becomes part of the routine that you're already doing. So basically, you're adding another routine to your existing routine. Use a visual cue. Put a pretty picture of water on your kitchen counter where you can see it. Fill it up in the morning. Your goal is to have it empty or nearly empty by early evening. When it's sitting right in front of you, it's a gentle little reminder every time you walk by. My mother did this and it worked out perfectly for her. Make it something that you enjoy. If plain water feels boring, I get it, that's okay. Add a slice of lemon or lime, or a slice of cucumber, or throw in a few mint leaves. Sparkling water counts too if you can manage the carbonation. I can't, so I avoid anything carbonated. But herbal teas, especially caffeine-free ones, those are wonderful. The goal is fluid, and it doesn't have to be plain water every single time. I personally use liquid monk fruit. I buy that on Amazon, and I just squeeze a couple of drops into my water, and it gives it a nice little flavor. And you can also eat your water too. Lots of foods are packed with fluid. Watermelon, cucumbers, soup, the broth kind, yogurt, oranges, strawberries. These all contribute to your daily intake. If eating feels easier than drinking, then lean into that. Now, use a water bottle with measurements on it, and you can buy these again on Amazon. This one sounds small, but it makes a real difference. When you can see how much you've had and how much you have left to go, it's much easier to stay on track. Many people find that having one with a straw makes it easier to sip throughout the day without even thinking about it. Set a gentle alarm. If you have a smartwatch or if you carry a smartphone with you, you can set an alarm on those things. If you're someone who gets absorbed in activities and just forgets, then set a reminder, again, on your phone or watch, or a simple kitchen timer if you're home all the time, for every couple of hours. A little buzz that says, hey, time for a sip. No fuss, no pressure. And honestly, I know the general rule of thumb is every couple of hours, but I personally would do it for every hour. All right. If you're listening to this as a family caregiver, then what's following up is for you. Keeping your loved one hydrated can feel like just one more extra thing on an already very long list. Believe me, I get it. And the tricky part is that they may not even tell you that they're thirsty. Well, they may not even know. So this one requires a little proactive thinking on your part. Try offering fluids on a schedule rather than waiting for them to ask. So again, like every hour. Every meal, every snack, every medication time, there's a glass of something. Herbal tea, water, a piece of watermelon, cucumber, whatever. Make it part of the routine so it doesn't require a conversation every single time. Watch for signs of dehydration. This could be dark urine, dry mouth, headaches, increased confusion, unusual fatigue, or a sudden drop in energy or mood. All of those can all be signals that fluids are low. And of course, check with the medications, because some of the medications that they're taking may cause some of these things. Let's take a moment to think about this from your loved one's perspective. Drinking might feel uncomfortable if they have swallowing difficulties, or if it's embarrassing if they worry about, incontinence. Talk to their doctor or speech therapist if swallowing is a concern. And if bathroom anxiety is part of the picture, work on making the restroom access easier and more dignified. Those barriers matter and they're worth addressing. Believe me, as a family caregiver, you're doing an incredible job, no doubt. And small changes in hydration habits can make a really big difference in how your loved one feels day to day. And honestly, that can make your caregiving process, your day-to-day interaction with them a little better as well. All right. One sip at a time. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. Staying hydrated is not complicated. It doesn't cost money. It doesn't require a prescription or a special program. It just requires a little awareness and a handful of simple habits built into your day. So start small. Like any habit, start small. Pick one habit from today's episode. Just one, like keeping a pitcher of water on the kitchen counter, or near your chair on by the TV or wherever you are, your workstation. You know, use an alarm, a reminder. Maybe you can use it on Alexa, or you can use it on your smartphone or smartwatch. Whatever it is, pick one habit. Maybe, putting a glass of water on your nightstand so that as soon as you wake up, put your feet on the floor, you drink that glass of water. Maybe it's finding the things that you can use to make your water taste a little better. Try that monk fruit. You might like it. Um, Anything at all. Just pick something and start there. Whatever it is that you choose, give yourself credit for just paying attention to this, because hydration is one of those things that quietly supports everything else. Your energy, your balance, your thinking, your mood. It's not glamorous, I know, but it is powerful. And talk to your doctor about the possibility of, because of your medication or your health, you may need water with electrolytes. So discuss that with them, because the electrolytes can also help to boost the hydration if medication that you're taking is sucking that up. You never know. All right. You deserve to feel your best every day. And sometimes a simple glass of water is a great place to start. All right, I want to thank you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. It truly does mean a lot. If you're looking for more tips, tools, and resources to help you or a loved one age safely and confidently and as independently as possible at home, then head on over to seniorsafetyadvice.com. That's where you'll find everything in one place. And if you're searching for home modifications or senior care services or aging in place professional in your area, as someone to help with safety assessments or caregiver support, then check out aginginplacedirectory.com. It's a wonderful resource for finding the specialists that you need near you. If this podcast has helped you in any way, one of the biggest ways that you can support it is by subscribing, leaving a review, or liking the episode. Those simple actions may seem small, but they really do make a huge difference. They help the podcast reach more people, especially family caregivers, older adults, and professionals who may need this information and support right now. And honestly, your support helps me and Robin, the co-host of this podcast, to create these episodes each week. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for helping me spread this message to others who may benefit from it. All right, I'm Esther Kane. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and I'll talk with you again very soon.